Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be taking a look through my collection of vintage penguin handbooks. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so we'll start off with Penguin Handbook number 1. Now, this one here, Soft Fruit Grown, actually came out as a Penguin special during the Second World War, first of all. It was published in December 1942. It got a reprint as a special, and then this revised edition came out as Penguin Handbook number 1. There we are, PH number 1. So this is actually the first Penguin Handbook, but it was actually a little bit of a reissue, and they did that with a few of these early ones here. Now, this is Handbook number 2, and I actually only need about 10 to have the complete set, and I'm missing just under that out of the first 100, so we haven't quite got them all, but we've got a very good run of them right up until when ISBNs came in the early 1970s, and a few after that in actual fact. So we get to see some of the really excellent covers as we go along. This is Handbook number 6, and any that I spot that I think I'm going to need to upgrade, I shall do that as we go along. This is number 7, released as a double volume, that one. Now, number 9 was the Penguin Handyman. Now, I, for a long time, thought that this was the thinnest penguin ever. Look at that. And I've actually got a couple of copies of this one. Yeah, one regular and one with this like stickered over price, which wasn't done by Penguin themselves. But I, for a long time, thought this was the thinnest one, 1945. There is actually one thinner, and it's a Penguin special, and it has no spine on it at all, just a staple. And it's basically like almost like a glorified pamphlet, that one, a treatise of the buildings of India, something like that, a wartime one. That is the thinnest penguin of all, I believe. This is a reissue of Penguin number 9, so I do have a couple of later editions. That was the first. This is the reprint. It's a little bit more substantial, and evidently they expanded on it a little bit. So yeah, some books we will have more than one edition of. The Breeding of Farm Animals, number 10. So all of these are very early post-war. Whilst a lot of these series, I liken this one a lot like to the Penguin Poetry, where they're very like plain to begin with, and then they get incredibly lavish and extravagant. Number 11 here. And at number 12, so this can be on my upgrade list. And I'll just call out a few as we go along, because when I go back and edit this, I know which ones I'm missing, but it would be nice to get a few upgrades. So this is another version where I've got 2 copies of it. That was the first, and that's the reissue from a little bit later, which is a really nice, attractive cover, that one. More in keeping with what they would become. Your Small Holding, number 13. I think some of these are actually quite scarce, but they're not mega money. It's not like collecting, rare Penguin crime titles from this period. This is another one, which was another very scarce Penguin special, and came out during the height of the Blitz in the UK. And it's legendary scarce, really. This is the reissue of that one. Once again, mine's got sadly some tape marks, tape removal marks on there. So I might be tempted to get a better copy of that one, number 14. Number 15 here, one on beekeeping. And we start to see a little change in design. We start to get these like little line drawings coming in, which I really like, but they do get even more extravagant as we go along. This is number 16, Successful Living. And some of these, it is worth showing the back covers as well on these. I remember getting this from early on in my Penguin career, so I wouldn't mind a better copy of it. It was when I was less fussy. I remember being chuffed to bits to get this one. Number 17, it was in a little second-hand shop in Torquay, 1952. Yeah, B. Nielsen, the classic original Penguin cookery book, the very first one. I believe something very similar is still in print to this day. Right, number 18 here, Grow Up and Live. And the Flower Garden, I'm also going to go on my upgrade list. It's quite worn, that one. The Flower Garden, number 19. And this is great, number 20. Look at this, a complete sort of change of design here. I really love the penguin logo, flanked by a couple of soft, teddy bears, toys. Really, really great. And this is where the penguin handbooks start to come into their own, design-wise. Between now and number sort of 80 or 90, I think they're absolutely beautiful. They really, really are. Great, great books. This one on dogs here, number 21. Very nice. Let's move these out of the way so we can start another pile over there. There we are. Paint your own pictures. I said I haven't quite got them all. I'm missing about 10 for the run, the pre-ISBN run. Number 23, Vegetable Garden. Very, very nice. The first book on chess, and Penguin did publish many books on chess in the end. Not quite as many as their cookery books, but they did publish quite a few. This is the very first one, number 24. This is an unusual one. It seems almost out of position. And yeah, number 25, the Penguin Book of Health and Beauty Recipes. I think that's really unusual, that one. It almost looks like 1957. It almost looks like a peacock, or a young adult title. Growing Vegetables for Show. Really, really like that. Another beautiful jacket. Love the penguin logo, almost like a rosette. A prize-winning book. Slip them up there. Another gorgeous one, a book of Mediterranean food. Now, when I was cleaning these recently, I noticed that this book is indentated along the top with Braille. So it's actually, I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's actually Braille in the front cover, and there's another one later on, exactly the same. They've got like Braille on. So whether that was to identify it to a blind person, really not sure. Because the rest of the book is not in Braille, of course, so not sure what the reasoning was behind that, but very nice anyway. Flower arrangement. This is number 29. A whole book on flower arrangement. And then number 30, the one on cats. So we saw the one on dogs. This is the one on cats. A little bit the worse for wear, that one. So I'll pop that as an upgrade. Along with this one, which is a great book, photography, number 31, but got a photo insert, which is probably what's made this one a little bit the worse for wear. Photography books tend to be like that. Absolutely gorgeous one. This one's also got a Braille cover. In my condition copy has got Braille in my collection, which is really weird. But a David Gentleman jacket, once again with the penguin at the bottom of the tablecloth there. Very, very nice. He does some illustrations inside as well. Not many, but there's a few, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we are. Very, very nice book indeed. A gorgeous handbook, this. Yeah, very, very nice. 1957. Good stuff, eh? All right, let's slide them over there. So, the Penguin Knitting Book. Well, my wife has taken up knitting recently. Knit me a scarf. Culture of the Abdomen. And if you notice the penguin logo there, he's looking a little bit rotund, shall we say. The Art of Marriage. This is very 50s. Look at that design. This is number 36. The Penguin Oral. Famous for their card games. This is a book of indoor games. Hubert Phillips. He, of course, would do many books for Pan on card games. And this one here is the first one published with collaboration of the Royal Horticultural Society. So these ones were more expensive. They were 5 shillings. The paper they're printed on is really superior So generally inside, they've survived, and today copies are around. Yeah, they're more expensive, but well illustrated, as you can see. Copies of these are, it's like a sub-series within the Penguin Handbooks, really. And we'll see quite a few of these as we go along. They're all right, they are what they are. I'm not the keenest of all gardeners, but I am, happy to have them. This is quite nice. This is The Art of Living, Andre Morehouse. You recognise him. He wrote the very first Penguin book, the autobiography of Shelley, Ariel, and he translated it, Andre Morehouse, the French chap. He also wrote a children's book as well for Penguin, but this is his contribution to the Penguin Handbooks. Another real favourite of mine, the Penguin Book of First Aid. No logo at all on the front cover, literally just the penguin with a big bandage, which I think is really, really nice, that particular one. You can get the penguin just in the middle of the spine there. This one's also laminated, and we will see a few books later on that have been laminated. Here's another one in the Royal Horticultural Society series, Annual and Biennial Flowers. This is number 44. Health Culture for Women, the sane way to slim. Look at that. If you want to stay sane, that's the book for you. Another gorgeous one here, Flower Growing for Shows. E.R. James, look at that. How gorgeous is that jacket? Really, really great. Tip-top stuff, that. Absolutely awesome. Another cracker. This is one of her classics. So Elizabeth David, as I'm sure you're aware, is a very famous cook, and this is her first real classic, French country cooking. Elizabeth David, beautiful jacket, almost reminiscent of a puffin, you could say. Not the mintest to copy, but I'm just glad to have this. Look at this. John Minton did the beautiful artwork inside. How gorgeous is this, eh? This is a highlight from the Penguin Handbooks, 1959. Very, very nice. Then we got Rock Gardens, and another one in that series. The Child's World. So you do get books on parenting and relationships. They get more sort of eyebrow raising as the series goes on, really. Another great chess book, The Chess Mind. We always really liked that jacket. Gerald Abrams. Very, very cool. Adolescence to Maturity. See, I suspect that something like this is probably very tough to find nowadays. I can't imagine what it's actually like to read. Let's pop them up there, because the next two are virtually a pair. So it's number 48 and 49. So 48 is cruising and 49 is sailing. And they do sort of form a pair. They're by the same author, same jacket artist as well. I think they're gorgeous. Two very, very nice books. I wouldn't mind a better copy of Cruising. So number 48 I'll pop on my upgrade list. 49's okay. But yeah, they're very nice. And then number 50, the New Vegetable Grower's Handbook. Look at that. Hardy Herbaceous Plants. Another one in that series. And we've got Cooking, Philip Harbin. Number 52. 53, The Physical Health of Children. I said around this time, I think the series is really, really knocking it out of the park. I just love the design of them. The Cool Greenhouse. Let's see, as I said, I think there's about 20 in that series. This is another real favourite, number 55. The Penguin Car Handbook. Look at that. Once again, a bit like the Penguin first book of First Aid. They use the penguin itself looking inside the car, and on the back cover, he's been in the boot there as well. And there's the author looking out the back. Absolutely cracking. I just really love that one. All right, let's slide these around. Ready for the last pile. Now, a few more in the Royal Horticultural series here. We've got the ones on lawns, chrysanthemums, and Delilah's. Look at this one. This one's absolutely, you could say that's almost mint. This is in the new format, and it's also laminated. As I said, a few books, they experimented with laminating them, and they have generally survived in great condition. This is, I suspect, another very, very scarce one. Look at this, Journey Through Adolescence. You'd probably be hard pushed to find a nice copy of this one today. I mean, how well it's sold. I'd love to know, I would love to know. This is good, isn't it? Look, the Spare Time book, a practical guide to adventure. Literally, because we would all have adventures in our spare time, wouldn't we? And look at this. So we're going to go climbing a mountain. It looks like we're butterfly catching, doing something else there, looking at fossils. I think they're singing, possibly, or doing a play. Stamp collecting. Parachuting. I did a bit of that in my spare time, yeah. And underwater diving as well, yeah. So, absolutely, you were going to be a busy person if you bought that book, let's be honest. Now one on interior design. Once again, I bet this is a really good one to have a look through. You can only imagine this is early 1960s. Is it even 1960? 1964, yeah. So you can imagine 1964 design. Interesting to students of that era, I would think. Let's pop them up there. Your child's room. Look at this. Designing your child's room. Incredible. And they start to take on this sort of yellow tinge. Now, I'm not a massive fan of it, but it's part of the look that they were going for with some of these. This one on their childbirth. Very much enjoy this one. This is also laminated. This is number 65. This one on bridge. Once again, they've sort of used the penguin device almost as like a playing card logo in a funny sort of way. Yeah, just a book on bridge. Absolutely beautiful tip-top copy of that one. Your money's worth. Gardening the Modern Way. Okay. This one here, The Slimming Business, number 68. The business of slimming. Well, it is big business, isn't it? And then change your life. Facts and Fallacies of Middle Age, a Penguin Handbook. See, they had something for everyone, didn't they? You've got to admit it. Let's do this last little pile before we swap these out. So, Farming for Profits. This was also laminated, but the laminate's starting to come off. That was number 70. Delphiniums. Retire and enjoy it. Now, this is another absolute cracker. This is what we'll be doing in our retirement. So definitely some gardening, sewing, take up the recorder. Look at that. Lots of reading, and they're going to be reading a penguin book. That's for absolutely certain. Bit of cooking. Looks like the stamp collecting's coming again. Maybe a spot of archery. Photography. Yes, look at, you're going to be using that old camera, aren't you? Let's be honest. No, I'll take up the violin. That's what I'll do, yeah. So anyway, they haven't got retire, become a full-time YouTuber and a part-time bookseller. That's what my version of that's going to be. Right, number 74, Ski Holidays in the Alps. You could say a tiny bit niche, that particular one. The Alice B. Toklas cookbook. I think this one's still in print. We just got room to get this last little pile out. House Maintenance and Repairs. 77, Introducing Psychology. 78, He and She. So another one of those like early relationship sort of books. Incredible, really. And they've got to be scarce, you know. And then a real favourite of mine before we take a break is number 79. Scootering, absolutely classic. He's not a mod or a rocker, but he's on his scooter. Absolutely cracking. It's one of my favourite ones of all. And quite collectible, that one. So here's book 80, How to Cook and Eat in Chinese. Well, that would be quite interesting, I would imagine. Then we've got the Penguin Book of Dogs, 81. Now, we did have a Penguin Book of Dogs earlier on, didn't we? So that must be not a reissue, but it looks like it's a completely different book. I don't recognise the authors, so that's a new one. A couple more in the RHS series. That was Raymond Bush. So this is, once again, this would have been a reissue of one that came out during the Second World War in one volume, that one, by the look of it. 12 shillings and sixpence. That was not cheap. A Book of French Wines, number 84. And they did a few books on wines, which, as well as cookery, of course. And 85 here, Any Wife or Any Husband. Sexual Problems in Married Life. And you see they're using this sort of yellow colouring as a way to try and identify the series, I think, you know. Yeah, Cooking in a Bedsitter. I haven't got a copy of How to Boil an Egg, which is another classic 70s Penguin, but it is one which isn't too difficult to get hold of. Number 87, and they tried a few books sort of cooking on the budget, which we'll see as we go along. Another one on wines and spirits there. Put that over there. Round the World in 80 Dishes. A photograph cover. Yeah, the backs of these aren't so good now. They are pretty plain. It is just the front jackets. Madame Prunier's Fish Cookbook. Okay. And a complete guide to investment. So I would say what we've seen here, we've already passed the absolute classic period. There's good books to come, but we've passed what I would call the golden age for Penguin handbooks, when they were experimenting with the covers and things like that. Thinking about marriage? I've been thinking about it, yes. Just waiting for him to propose. Improve your cricket. Another one by Bill Neeson. Look, obviously wrote a lot of cookbooks. Cooking for Special Diets. 96 here. Cacti and Other Succulents. Penguin Cordon Bleu Cookery. 98, one on Italian food, once again Elizabeth David. As is this one, number 99. Now this one, unfortunately, got to go on my upgrade list because it's been laminated. I mean, it has protected the book, but it's the lamination over the last 50 years has started to age, and it's not great to be on there sort of permanently. And then handbook number 100 was also Elizabeth David. It was Summer Cooking, which is quite cool. We just got a bit of room here for the last few, which is the Penguin Salad Book. The Art of the Middle Game, another chess book here. This is 102. This one's a little bit worn, so I put that on the upgrade list as well. One to look for a better one. And I think this one, 103, is possibly the thickest one. It's a book on mountaineering. Huge book. Look at that. I mean, it's got everything in it. Absolutely everything you could possibly want to know. That is a cracking book. It wasn't cheap though. 18 shillings and sixpence. That was a lot. That was almost £1, you know. But it looks like the absolute ultimate book. The pages are really thick on it as well, which has made the book itself really bulky and heavy. But yeah, the largest handbook in my collection. Now a little bit of related memorabilia here. We got a nice Penguin bookmark. This is from 1967, which is around the sort of time we are up to now looking at these. And it's What's Cooking at Penguins. Love the little penguin with a chef's hat on. That is absolutely tip-top. So it does mention a few goodies here. The Elizabeth David cookery book set. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 books in a slipcase there, 24 shillings. The 2 Len Deighton books, which we'll have a look at in a minute, both also in a slipcase. I wouldn't mind getting that particular one. And it says, see over leaf for a complete list of all the Penguin handbooks, which are cookery books, and they do go up to number 138. So our next number is 104, so we're getting through these. So yeah, quite nice that. Look at that. Very, very nice. I love related memorabilia like that, and that was a particularly nice bookmark. So let's fly through these then with number 104, Modern Vegetarian Cookery, and this one definitely needs to be on the upgrade list. It's a bit rough, that one. At Your Service. And the Penguin Book of Pets. Bidding at Bridge. Norman Squire. Hardy Bulbs one. Look at this. Look at the condition of it. I mean, it's virtually mint, isn't it? You wouldn't think that this was a book from 1964. It doesn't look 61 years old, does it? Look at that. But it is. It's almost what we would call a time machine book. There's its follow-up, Hardy Bulbs Volume 2. Improve Your Athletics 1. Yes, look at this. I mean, you've got to think that had a pretty niche audience, wouldn't you? Let's be honest. Oh, and 2. So books 1 and 2, they were published simultaneously, I would think, or as consecutive numbers. And look at the author. Not Sergeant Wilson from Dad's Army, but very similar. John Le Mesurier, not John Le Mesurier. So we've gone up to B format now for this next one, which is Penguin Handbook 112, The Penguin Guide to Fishing. So much, much larger. 113 is an upgrade because it's been wrapped in plastic. Green plastic. Bit of a horrible one, that. But it is what it is. I'm going to keep hold of it until a better one should come my way. Designed to fit the family. Looking good. Nice shelf full of penguins there, I notice. That's what we like. Early design book, that one. Play with a Purpose for under 7s. I guess for nurseries and things like that. That would be handy. Another big, huge one, actually. Travel in Europe. 116. I don't remember this one, actually. Early Penguin Travel Guide. And if I get those out of the way, because the next one is actually Oblong. This is Len Deighton. Now, Len Deighton was working for Penguin at this time as like an art director. He did a bit of reporting as well. So he did have a Penguin connection. And this one is Oblong. And once again, Huile et Garlic. It's Len Deighton's French cookbook. I did not know that he was a great chef, but evidently he was, because they put this book together. This is before he became a best-selling thriller writer. Oh, actually, yeah, look, he had written the Ipcris File and Horse and... Oh, he had done that series, so he was already established when this came out. Maybe they just sort of said, well, look, you know, why don't you do these? 1965. So anyway, a bit of an unusual one in oblong format. They usually turn up, like most cookbooks, in not the greatest of conditions. So one definitely to keep your eyes peeled for. And there is another one, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Improve Your Tennis. Well, okay. And then another big thickie, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Penguin Book of Wines. And then Improve Your Soccer by none other than Jimmy Hill. There he is on the back. He was a player, of course, before he was a TV pundit. A player, then a coach, I believe, then the TV pundit. And there he is in action. A life devoted to the glorious game. Chess Treasury of the Air. The Husband and I. My Husband and I. That's an unusual one, isn't it? When I did a quick look, one of the books I'm missing is a book of, I think, chess openings. But else I've got all the Penguin chess books. Penguin Dictionary of Cookery. Okay. Herbs and Spices. Danish Cooking. I see loads and loads of cookbooks. And then we've got the other Len Deighton one. This is Len Deighton's Action Cookbook. This was the second one. Evidently that was the way to get the ladies, was to be great at cooking pasta. And this is along the similar sort of lines to what we saw before. Oblong with the recipes. The first one must have done okay. Yeah, this was published literally the same year by Penguin. And then years later, the books did get re-released. French Cooking for Men, which I think is both books in one. It feels like it's both books. 2010. Looks like it's got a new introduction by Len Deighton. Yeah, preface to the 2010 edition. There we are, look at that. And then it's got the original illustrations by the looks of it. Yeah, there we are. Now, the other thing to look for with these is there's a slipcase of this one, a Nouvelle Garlic, a period 60s slipcase with the 2 books in. And that is worth tracking down as well if you're looking to complete your Penguin Handbook collection. It's one I haven't actually got. Improve your rugby, should you want to. And this is the last little run before we go into the ISBN books. This is 131. Posh Food. Another huge book here. Look at this. The Peacock Book of Careers for Girls. Now, this is not something that you would expect to find as a handbook. Look at the size of it. And it mentions peacock, so it evidently wasn't released as in the Peacock series, because we've been through those. And the Peacocks is a PK, not a PH. So they decided, by the looks of it, to release it as a handbook instead. Jewish Cookery. And then 134, How to Drive Safely. The Art of Survival. The Play of the Cards. He looked serious, didn't he? A Guide to Advanced Play by the author of Bridge. Okay, I thought it was a book on gambling then or something. But no, it was a bridge book. Colour photography. This is a B format. Eric Glamer. It's really nice, isn't it, that one? 136. Leave It to Cook. The American Heritage Cookbook. And that bookmark that I got, this one here, was found inside this book, which is an absolutely minter. It's unread, this one. Book of American recipes, but that's where that particular book came out of. That's why I've dated it 1967. Soups and Hors d'oeuvres, number 139, Handbook 139. Entertaining single-handed. Look at that. I do it standing on my head. Making pottery. Look at this. This is one for fans of the Pottery Showdown. Or Throwdown, I should say, on Channel 4. Never miss an episode in our house, I can tell you that. Then we got Good Food on a Budget. And the last one, before ISBNs kicked in, was Fresh from the Freezer. So you're looking at, these are 1969, 1970. They've got the decimal price now, as well as the old shillings and pence. So dual pricing dates these at 69 and 70. Okay, so here's some of the ISBN ones. So these are a little bit later. None of these I've actively gone out to try and get. They've just sort of ended up sort of in my hands, and they are part of the Penguin Handbook collection, even though they are past my sort of cut-off point, which is usually 1970. So as you can see, these have got an ISBN. There's no Penguin Handbook number, but this is absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't want not to have this one. Yep, first published 1970. Beautiful jacket on it. Barry Evans was the artist on that one. So these ones here, some of them have got a Penguin Handbook number on, just a handful of them. Else, these are just in date order by ISBN. It's got another bridge book there. Caricature and French Pork Cookery. Buying a house. Look at this. Look at the prices. But if we have a look at these ISBNs, if you can see that, you can see this would be Handbook 154, 155, 156, 158, 160. So, I mean, I'm not collecting books by ISBN. Even I draw the line. But these are quite nice additions to the Penguin Handbook story, as it were. So I will just show you these last few. A Stroke in the Family. This is B format here. Spices, salts, and aromatics in the English kitchen. Do a couple of stacks. The Pauper's Cookbook. Look at that. That's brilliant, isn't it? I bet that was really handy. The wines of Italy. Well, we love an Italian wine, but I got to admit I prefer a French wine. Now this one's even bigger than a B format. This is, well, the next size up. Slimnastics. Never heard of it. Sports and physical education. Look at that. Slimnastics. This is a great one. Look at that. Using London. A photograph outside Earl's Court. I mean, that's cracking, that, isn't it? So how do you use London then? Egghead London? Sports? Oh, it's basically like a little travel book, really. Belonging and doing. What's happening? Wow. What can you say? Working at home? Well, in 1970, that would have been quite novel, wouldn't it, working from home? Quite common today, of course. And a kitchen primer. Look at that. Break an egg. As you can see, a lot more of these are in B format now. Japanese cookery. It's nice. And oh, look at that. Divorce and After. But a cover by Mel Kalman. Yeah, Mel Kalman. He started working for Penguin in the late 60s. I guess he was still with them. In fact, he was with them up until about 1978, 79, I believe, that illustrator. Right, let's clear those out of the way. The beginner's cookery book. That's probably where I am. At the beginning level. Oh dear, look at that. She's looking very pensive, isn't she? The Single Woman's Guide to Pregnancy and Parenthood. Well, I'm not laughing at that. Practical advice. Portuguese cookery. Evidently they used a lot of fish. Another big one here. The Cookery of England. Elizabeth Ayrton. Big thick one there. Whole Earth Cookbook. Whole Earth foods are those vegetables, fruit and vegetables that are grown in soils rich in organic matter. Another B format. The Penguin Freezer Cookbook. Look at that pavlova. I'd have a slice of that. Let's Play Maths. Now, that name, Michael Holt, might be familiar to Doctor Who fans because he wrote a little series of Doctor Who puzzle books in the 80s. They weren't published as Target. They were published by Magnet, I think they were called. It was a kid's imprint. The Penguin Guide to Insurance. Penguin Book of Chess Positions. Yeah, I think there's just one I'm missing. I'm sure it's just chess openings. To have all Penguin's chess books, which is cool. I quite like chess. The Wines of Burgundy. Might be one to take on holiday with me. The Vegetarian Epicure. Wow. Penguin Book of Playgroups. A big thick book as well. I guess ideas for playgroups per se. And children growing up. I'm guessing these are like, well, when was this published? 1973, this one. Just a handful more. Jams, pickles and chutneys. Go for beginners. Not a game I was ever any good at. I have watched it be played, but it wasn't really my thing. Was Go. And the very last one, the most modern one I've got is this, Pots and Pans. And this was 1980 because I looked it up earlier. There you go. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed looking through my collection of Penguin handbooks. It is a really good fun series. You're going to get all sorts of books. I believe personally there's a tad too many gardening books and perhaps one too many cookery books, but the other bits and pieces I think are really fascinating, and the 40s and 50s ones are particularly fun to collect, with some of the 60s ones as well. Things like Scootering and that I think are real highlights. Anyway, so there you are. So if you enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content. and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.